Okay people, welcome back to another Fwoosh overview. Today, let's take a quick look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Astonishing X-Men Cyclops and Emma Frost. Oh, I couldn't help myself. CmdStore in Canada got some of their allotment, I guess, and I was late night browsing, and I was scrolling through, and I was like, they have it in stock. I'll just get these two. Because I do want the whole wave, and I want to build Ch'ad, but Astonishing X-Men is way up on the list. So I thought, I'll get these early and then get the rest of the wave when they come in stock wherever, if I can hold out that long. Looking at the package, it's what we've grown accustomed to with the windowless packaging, but that's about to change later this year. We're going to get the windows back at some point, I guess. But for now, here's some digital renders of the characters on the front of the package. Got some artwork on the side. On the back, more digital renders with the accessories and the Build-A-Figure piece. Warning, small parts. Don't put them in your mouth. On the other side, there's the Build-A-Figure, Ch'ad, the numbers to denote which character comes with which piece. I really miss the wanted poster type things where it shows the rest of the characters in the wave. Hopefully that comes back when the windows come back. On the top, nana. On the bottom includes figure and 3 accessories or 2 accessories, plastic-free packaging. Anyway, let's get these open. And we are going to start with Cyclops because we've gotten quite a few Cyclopses. It's Emma that's going to be make it or break it, I guess. I don't know. There's no certain order. There's no special treatment here. I'm just opening this one. Or, I think I'm opening... Oh, it's up here. Oh, come here. Oh, man. I'm going to be honest. I was worried about this. A lot of the initial pictures made him look small. And by small, I mean too small. This is shorter than the Bucky Cap body Jim Lee Cyclops, but thicker in places, if that makes any sense. It's got more mass to it, especially up in the chest, and the legs are also thicker. But it's not Vulcan-sized, it's shorter than that. And now that I have them side by side, I was working under the assumption that Scott was based on the Vulcan body, but I don't think it is. It may have been the same base originally because the butterflies seem similar, but all the musculature is different. And not just because they added wrinkles to the clothing here and the piping and the seam line running up the middle. It's actual size and shapes. That is not the same biceps. But we'll get to the full-on comparisons in a little bit. Here, ooh, it has all the nice Astonishing X-Men Cyclops beats. Have the straps around the boots, smaller one up top, thicker one down bottom, and there's a little buckle right there. That is fairly accurate. Same thing for this little part sticking off the back of the bracer. I don't know what it's supposed to be, like it's double wrapped or Velcro. He brings it around, snap. But that is a separate piece on top of the forearm. Out of the package, it was around this way. It needs to go more towards the back. Extra wrinkles sculpted on in the parts that are bendy. I mean, the knees move all the time. It would wrinkle up around there. And then we get to the piping that runs up, oh well, yeah, all the way back and around and up and through and up over the chest and around the shoulder, coming back down to the belt. Paint's a little sloppy in places, but it doesn't really jump out at you. The belt is also a separate piece. You can kind of fudge it around the strap part, but when it comes to the buckle, it's actually pinned into the body, so it's not gonna ride up and down, side to side. It also moves with the upper body and hides the waist joint, so it does its job. More wrinkles around the elbow. Again, a heavy bending spot when it comes to costumes, so yep, it's gonna bunch. Fairly clean on the back, some fabric stretching across the butt crack, but that also comes into play here up the middle. It adds a little realism here with this, I'm assuming is a tiny zipper, a seam line running all the way up the front so it can be put on and taken off. And then there's the head, very stoic look for Scott, which is okay because it's Scott. There's the slight darkness to the lips that I've been griping about a lot lately, but it's a little lighter this time around. It's not as noticeable. Maybe it's because of the red of the visor kind of offsetting it a bit. It is very astonishing. It didn't have the metal coming all the way back and around the ears. In fact, you can kind of see the ears under the costume with some stretching right there. The silver visor and the red in the middle and this energy effect smoking up. And that's nice, but a lot of people argued that it shouldn't be there or it should be removable, and I kind of agree with that. Thankfully, you can pull on it and pull out this whole piece. And the first time I did it, I thought, well, that just leaves a big empty gap, but there's actually red down in there too. So it still looks like There's energy back there. It just has a slot in front of it now. I popped the head off thinking the whole thing may have been that translucent red material and then painted over, but I think it's just the visor. If the openness there bugs you, you can just snip that off and then plug the red effect back in. I feel like that's a missed opportunity to have a blast effect. If that's open, hey, let's have more things to plug in there. Overall, though, it's a nice Cyclops shape. He's not so slim when we got to Astonishing. He had some bulk to him. Going over articulation, there is a ball at the top of the neck with a hinge under that. I like my dumbbells, but at the same time, I also like this and this, but not a lot of this. I like my tilt. Side to side, butterfly joint goes back more than forward, and oh, look at that. The stripe is still sculpted on there too. Pin coming out to the shoulder allows for rotation, and if you turn the arm to here, the butterfly goes further in. That's just physics. I mean, plastic, not so much plastic. That goes all the way around. Hinge at the shoulder goes there. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow comes all the way up. Swivel at the wrist with a hinge in and out. Crunchticles to there. Arcs back. Swivel at the waist. Ball coming out to the hip allows for this, and then out to there, not shabby at all. Swivel at the thigh breaks that piping all to hell. Double knee comes up to, oh, almost. Swivel at the boot, under the piping. That's where, oh, wait a second. That's a completely different piece sandwiched in there. Is this gold piping separate too? Oh, it is. It's a rubber piece, overlay. Hinge at the ankle is very tight, goes back to here. Forward, front-facing pin for rocker. For accessories in the package, Scott comes with 2 fists. Those should just pop out, yep. And again, oh, they come off. Be careful of that, but it's a clean arm underneath. Customizing potential. He has an open right hand for relaxing or waving. Hello. And a 2-finger pointing left hand for leading the team or calling his shot or just, you know, again, saying hello. Hey, buddy. Seem kind of large. I don't know if this body was meant to be bigger and then the hands didn't get shrunk down, because I don't have that problem with the fists. They look like a good size whenever they're plugged in. So, it's probably going to be fists for me. Wait a second. The X Factor Cyclops had a swappable piece. And remember, it had the effects on the side too. Does this... Oh, it's not a perfect fit. The plug is a little long and not wide enough to go all the way to the edges of the visor. But at a distance, for some action shots, after you straighten it up a little bit, go down. It's passable, but maybe future Cyclopses will come with more blast effects if they keep going with this same size visor. And then, of course, we'll open up Emma. Oh, big chunk of Build-A-Figure. Just let go. There's the figure. There's the Build-A-Figure. Extra hand. Oh, I thought they would be in their own separate package, and I was about to get pissed off because they weren't in here, but they're packed with the Build-A-Figure. Oh, and taking a quick look at this, I like that green, little bit of overspray, a lighter yellowish type green on top right there. I want to build Starjammers. Had to bring the lights down just a little bit because of Emma's bright white was just blowing out the camera. We got to be able to see details, right? Well, the cape is definitely bright white. It's gonna be hard to pick up on camera, but there's almost a grayish tint to the costume parts. Makes that stand out slightly against the cape. Then again, the shadows help with that too, bringing it down and around. Like Cyclops, the Astonishing aesthetic is definitely at play here too, with the piping running down and then here all the way down. Oh, stops at the ankle. And then again with the realism, there's a zipper or ties running up here to get in and out of costume when necessary. I thought the arms would just be bare and painted because you have skin up here, you have white costume down here, and you can't really get at the arms under the cape because it's glued down right here. But there is piping around the top of the sleeve, completely hidden by the cape. You cannot see it unless you go digging for it. And that's probably one of my gripes with this figure. The cape is attached right here, it goes around the back, oh, and there's a pin. But that's the costume. We knew that it was going to be restrictive around here unless they went with some kind of cloth or altered the look, and it being very specific to Astonishing X-Men, I'd rather it be accurate than functional. I know that is weird to say. You won't hear me say that very often, but in this case, Yeah, even though I may explore options of swapping it out with a cloth cape. Because it does flare out, and it's going to take up some real estate on the shelf. I kind of wish you could do this, but strong. And then you have the gold with the red on the X buckle. Very nice skin tones. I will say that it does get kind of, and I know it's Emma, so there's some surgery here, but she does get really skinny towards the top. Like here, and then it almost changes scale. It reminds me of that very first Emma, that terrible one that doesn't even exist in my world anymore. I can't even find that figure. But it's not near as bad because there are curves to it. It's there. It just catches my eye. Right there. Something about the costume out of the package too. I was getting the feet straight and facing forward, and I noticed that the knees kind of pointed in. And there's a thigh swivel, but if you turn that to make the knee more forward, you're breaking that piping. Ugh, that's worse. Fortunately, I realized that the ball hip has some play to it, so you can turn that out too, and that's straightening the leg up. You can see a little bit of the peg when you do it, but getting everything straightened up overall, yeah, that's much better. But like Cyclops' little energy effect sticking out, it's Emma's face that brought on some online discussion. In the promo pictures, and now even in person, I'm looking at it and thinking, God dang, that is Cassidy all the way. The slight rosiness in the cheeks, the silver to the lipstick, the heavy eyeliner, the eyebrows, it just all works. And again, some extra detail. That collar is actually sculpted on there. The hair is very in-your-face blonde, and at first I thought, man, that's just a yellow hunk of plastic up on top. But if you get closer, there's actually a whitish, silverish dry brush on top. Give it some shimmer, some shine. It's a weird, neat effect that kind of wins me over with it, but I still think it needs a dark wash just to bring out the sculpt a bit. Really, that ties down to the gold here. I mean, it's not the exact same color, but you know what I mean. Again, getting back away from it, it's Emma Frost. There is a... Come here. There is a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck, but you know what's going to go on here with all this hair. It's not going to give you a lot of movement. There is some flex to give you side to side, but as far as up goes, not a lot. Down, you can force it, but it's going to spring itself back up. Little tilt, more than Cyclops. Peg coming out to the shoulder, but you're going to get to here. And really, that's more than I thought she was going to get. It's just too restrictive because there's also a hinge there that'll get you to about right there. It's all in the hinge and swivel elbow because she can bend below the cape. But the hinge and swivel is still outdated at this point. Most of the females come with double elbows, and here that would have been great to get her hand down and then back up in front of the cape. Swivel at the wrist with a hinge in and out. Dumbbell at the mid-torso does get some hula hoop action. Ball coming out to the hip allows for this, and then, whoa, way back, and about the same as Scott. Swivel at the thigh definitely has a detent right where the pipes line up. Double knee comes, oh, bing. Hinge at the ankle goes way back, way forward, but with it being a high heel, the peg has no forward movement, so instead of rocker, you get more of a twist. I have noticed that she is easier to stand than any of the other Emmas I have, so or any of the other high-heeled characters. So there is that. For accessories in the package, she comes with a kind of a spread out power wielding hand and then a left fist. Then she has a right fist and a more spread out left hand. They don't match. The right is kind of tapered down. The left is just bam, straight out. Hello. Cyclops and Emma both stand at about 6¼ inches tall, but remember she's wearing heels, so that adds some height. Standing Cyclopses together, there's the old Jim Lee and then the animated version that I took the cell shading off of. Yeah, it does come out a little small. The crotches are about level, but then it loses something in the torso. So it's not as bad as I thought it was. In fact, I'm just now realizing this is about the same height as this. But it's not as tall as I like my Scots. Because yeah, he is shorter than Vulcan. About the same size as this Havoc, though. Oh, Lord. Come on. Stand. Oh, no, too much. Stand up. Stand up. There you go. Oh. Come on. Stay. Similar sizes to this Emma, which I can't remember where this body came from, but this is the Walgreens alternate head and then the Marvel Select cape. Proportions are slightly different. This has a thicker torso, but then you get over to the Hellfire Emma and she just kind of throws everything out of whack. But standing her next to other X-Men like the new retro series Dark Phoenix and then the Jim Lee Storm, she looks like she fits in. Granted, neither of these have heels, but still proportionally, she fits in. Well, okay, head sizes may be different. But when it comes to the Astonishing team on my shelf with some customs that I'm working on, this is the old Beast repainted with a fan plastic forehead. And I'm just starting on this Wolverine, but size-wise, if Hasbro can keep Wolverine at the same scale and then give us a new Beast, this should look pretty good. So at the end of the day, I have tasted Astonishing X-Men, and I want more. Now, don't get me wrong, Emma's cape is very restrictive. It kills a lot of dynamic posing for her. And while that fits her character, standing back, doing her mind type things, I would still like to see some cloth options here. And Cyclops does run slightly short. Not as bad as I thought he would, but not as tall as I would like either. More than that, though, we're gonna need some blast effects, because the option is there. We just need the extra plastic. And now that I'm looking at it, there's got to be a diamond variant of Emma at some point, right? It's a very distinct, individual, unique sculpt for this character. They've got to get more mileage out of it somehow. And I guess the same could be said for Scott. Oh man, give me this body with the puffy new X-Men jacket that he puts on later, and a alternate head with no visor and no hood up, you know what I mean? But more than that, we're going to need more Astonishing X-Men. We're going to need Kitty for sure, smaller size, more accurate to what we saw in the comics. We're going to need Colossus, who isn't really that different from the Jim Lee type look. Just need some tweaks here and here and here, or give us an all new sculpt with wrinkles and stuff. And then of course Beast and Wolverine. And then a new Danger and Ord and Nick Fury in his John Cassaday Astonishing look, and Agent Brand in that look. All the characters. Oh, remember the Fantastic Four, how they looked in there? Yeah, I would take that thing. That'd be cool too.